For some reason I just recorded an entire video and it like killed me at the end because I realized that it wasn't recording, and that was disappointing because I only got 52 seconds of video and I was like, grr, why must you do this? So I'm going to do this again. And this time you must pardon me because I'll be looking at my laptop because I don't want to take as much time. So this is my review of WWDC 2012, which is Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference, which is where they release a lot of new products and software and stuff. So let's get started. First off on their update list was the MacBook line. Starting with the MacBook Air, it now features an Ivy Bridge processor from Intel, which is kind of a big deal because they're newer and they're faster, and I can't tell you a whole lot about them actually because I don't know a whole lot about them because I don't understand a lot of processor stuff because I'm kind of new to the processor world. It also has 512 gigabytes of flash, which is a big deal because that's something that people have wanted. So there you go, more hard drive storage. And it also has USB 3 connectors, which are faster than USB 2, which is what we have in most computers nowadays. And my thoughts on the MacBook Air are that it's overpriced because it starts at $1,000, and I want something more along the lines of like $600 or $700, which would be a really good quality computer, but without all the great features. Like, it could be older. If I could buy a refurbished one for $600, I would be super happy. Not that I have the kind of money to just go and buy one right now, but it would be handy if I didn't have a laptop, instead having a really nice Apple desktop and then used a MacBook Air and companion with that. The MacBook Pro also has an Ivy Bridge processor, uses USB 3 also, and it has an HDMI connector, which I think is cool because up to this point I've had to use this to get an HDMI connection to my computer, and now that makes that unneeded for people with newer MacBook Pros. It doesn't have a DVD/CD drive anymore, which makes me really annoyed because it's not gone yet. The DVD and CD are still around, they're just going out, and I think they should still be around. So my thoughts on this are, I miss the DVD drive, but I really like the HDMI. Also, there's an upgrade in RAM. You can now go up to 16 gigabytes of random access memory, which is kind of a big deal because it makes things faster, and I really like that, but it wouldn't be all that useful for me. So, you know, a lot of people were disappointed because they're like, oh darn, MacBook Pro didn't get what's called a Retina display, which means that you can't see the pixels and it's all perfect and smooth. And then we're all like, or did it? Because the guy was exiting the stage and really he just got something. He's like, I want to show you guys this. It's called the MacBook Pro with the Retina display, and everybody's like, oh my gosh. And it's essentially, it's like a thinner, lighter MacBook Pro with same features pretty much, but it has a Retina display, which means you can't see like the individual pixels, which is cool. And also, I think it's overpriced. It's not overpriced. I think it's not worth the price. I mean, it has quieter fans, supposedly. It's a MacBook Pro with a Retina display. It's not something I particularly need at this point in my life. Up next is OS X, which is an operating system, which is kind of like, it's like comparable to like Windows or like 7 or Windows XP. It's like the computer's own software. And this one is called Mountain Lion, and it has some awesome features, like it has better iCloud integration, which means it communicates better with your iPad, iPhone, iPod Touch, etc. with those devices and meshes all of your data together. It also has something called dictation, which is new, and a lot of people when they first heard the guy saying, hey, dictation, they're all like, oh, Siri, yay! And really, it's not Siri. There's no Siri. It's just anywhere you need to input text, you can speak instead of typing, which is cool. It also has the Game Center app, which comes from the iPhone, iPod Touch software called iOS, and I think that's okay. I mean, it doesn't really bother me that it's there, but it's not something that I'll be using, so, you know, whatever. Also, the price of this is incredible because Lion, the one before Mountain Lion, was $30, which is a good price when considering like Windows 7 Home Edition is like $100. And this one is going to be $20 when you can buy it in July, which is a pretty big deal. A pretty big deal. Next up is iOS, which is what they use on iPhones and iPod Touches, and this version is called iOS 6. And for the iPhone, it features a better Siri, meaning you can ask it more complex questions with less basic wording. So you can be like, hey, who's taller, LeBron or Kobe? And it'll tell you, it'll show their stat cards, and you'll be like, oh, cool. And, or you can be like, oh, when do the New York Giants play next? And they'll be like, oh, here's why, here's when, whatever. And that's pretty cool. It also has Facebook integration, which is handy because iOS 5, the previous version, got Twitter integration, which means you can like tweet pictures and stuff easily from the rest of your phone, and I think Facebook integration will be even more popular, and it's pretty cool. There's also something called Passbook, which puts all your passes in one place for, like, say your Amtrak or train or your flight, your boarding pass, or like your Starbucks card, all that kind of stuff. It also has new maps, which add some cool features, like flyover, and it's 3D, and it's Apple's own stuff, and it has updated pictures, and I think that's really cool. And I'll just have to try it myself at some point in time, otherwise I'm not going to know if I really like it or not. So that's how that goes. So my thoughts on Mountain Lion are, it looks awesome. My thoughts on iOS 6 are, it also looks awesome. I can't wait. So other cool stuff I found on the internet today were, one, a sofa I found that folds up on the side of a briefcase. It's probably rather heavy, but it's like an awesome like thin cushion thing that folds out into a sofa-sized cushion thing with a back and arms, and it's really cool. And that costs $128, which isn't really bad for something like that, because generally they want a lot of money for stuff like that. I also found a hoodie that looks like medieval armor suit hoodie thing, and that's cool. It looks kind of like a wall maybe, but I know it's not, and I just find that kind of a strange look, but you know, it's cool enough. And I do not know a price on that. It's from Etsy, which is kind of like eBay for crafts. Have a nice day. Goodbye. Vlog every day of summer.